Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Masks Off. Tia and Kim here with you. And we have in previous episodes been talking about different masks that we wear. And today we're going to talk about the rescuer
Mm.
slash fixer mask.
Big one.
So, a big one, yes. So, again, I'm going to start with a quote, and this one says, "Be confused. It's where you begin to learn new things. Be broken. It's where you begin to heal. Be frustrated. It's where you start to make more authentic decisions. Be sad, because if we are brave enough, we can hear our heart's wisdom through it." S.C. Laurie. That's a great quote.
I love that one.
Yes. So for me, I definitely wear the rescuer slash fixer mask. And I think we had talked in previous episodes about how the perfectionist, people pleaser, and this one, rescuer, are all intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of overlap with these masks. And again, possibly because it's more of the feminine, the nurturer, right? So
Right.
moms in particular want to rescue and want to fix. But as you and I were both talking before we came on camera, we both shared that we can also remember back to when we were young, teenagers, adolescents, always being the one, the go-to when our friends were having troubles and issues. I
Yep.
literally felt like a counselor. I
Oh
literally
yeah.
did. I
Yep.
was always trying to fix everybody's problems, always.
Yep.
But what's more particular for me about this mask, and if I really am honest with myself and I go deep to the underneath, the reason that I want to rescue and the reason that I want to fix, particularly for my loved ones and the close ones, is because seeing them in pain and in struggle is too much for me to bear. I'm one of those people, and I think it's partly because I am a super empath, but I'm one of those people that wants to run from pain rather than go through the pain.
Mm.
And we know in life, you really have to go through the pain, go through the tunnel of pain to come out on the other side. You can't sidestep it. You can't step
Mm-mm.
over the pothole. You can't walk around. You can't go over it. And let me tell you, I tried to do all that. And one of the ways I try to do it is by fixing
Mm-hmm.
and rescuing. If I just wave that magic wand, and that's how I felt when I was a little girl,
Yeah.
if I could just take my magic wand and wave it, I would make everyone feel better.
Mm-hmm. And
No more
yourself.
sadness, and myself, probably more so for myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I would just make everyone feel better. So,
Yeah.
and one of the ways that the only way that actually, there are two ways that I knew how to do that. And one
Okay.
is that is also where that perfectionist mask was also birthed from, because
Mm-hmm.
if I was just being a good girl and being perfect and I didn't cause any problems or create any problems, then no one would have to be upset. I wouldn't be
Right.
another reason for someone to be upset.
Right.
That was one. So there's that. Now I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say. The other way in which that I do this is to just be able to talk. Like, I feel like I'll help you if
Mm-hmm.
I just talk to me. I'll help you through your sadness. I'll
Right.
help you through your issues. Let's just talk. I'll
Mm-hmm.
be your
Mm-hmm.
therapist.
Right. Right.
So that's what it looks like for me. That's how it manifests for me in terms of being a rescuer or fixing. I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you how
Yeah.
to get rid of your sadness, your
Yes.
pain, because
Mm-hmm.
I've read so many books. I've really become a learned professional on this, air
Yeah.
quotes,
Yeah.
on how to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
when in reality, the person needs to do it themselves.
right, right. You can still hold the space and help them in a different way without the fixing or the advice. And I mean, and it's hard to watch someone hurting. It's really hard. And if you really tap into yourself and are very honest, we recognize that it's hard to see them in pain, but it's because it's hitting our pain. And that means then we have to face our pain of witnessing their pain.
Yeah.
So it's like this double-edged sword of pain. And it's a lot to hold and a lot to manage. And if you're constantly sidestepping or jumping over the pothole or avoiding the pain, the easiest way to do that is to fix it. I can make it better. I can do it better than you can. Let me do it for you. I will fix it because I have to push down the pain that I'm feeling. And as you begin to remove this mask, you have no choice but to be in pain, to feel those tough feelings. It's like the quote, you become confused, you feel broken, frustrated, sad, but that's the brave. That's the bravery. When we can start to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, that's how these masks can start to come back. And when we can be in that discomfort with another, then they learn how to be in their own discomfort and start to walk through the pain as well. Because it's so hard to watch someone struggling, especially when, it's always easier to see another person's path than our own, if you only
Yeah.
did
Why
this.
is that? Why is that? We can always see it so clearly for someone else.
Because we don't know our own blind spots, right? But
Yeah.
we can see it in others, but what we're seeing in others is a reflection of what's within us too. And I
A
think that's
mirror.
also another challenging part of the rescuer piece is we're seeing their struggle, and internally, because it's bothering us so much that we want to fix it, that means it's within us too. And so if we fix it, then we don't have to address that struggle within us because we're going to make it all okay around us. It comes back to that whole external piece. We look to the outside rather than the inside. But we can't do this mask work and this stuff without doing our shadow work, the difficult stuff within us. And for me, this mask has really been coming off and off and off. It's almost for me the most liberating mask right now. And then it's easier to peel back the perfectionist and the people pleaser aspect, because as I've become more comfortable with pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain, whatever, I can now hold that space for them. And when I'm talking to someone, because I still have lots of people come to me and talk to me, whether they're clients or friends or whomever, I don't just freely give advice anymore. I don't fix it. Where before I started doing this work, intense work of removing the masks and noticing my patterns, I would immediately go to advice. You should do this. Let me fix it for you. Now I can step back and notice, okay, I don't have to fix it. And fixing it isn't fixing it. It's just a Band-Aid anyway. Because they're not, the other has to do their own fixing, like you said. And
So
so,
how do you lead a person into that then? One, how do you invite them to hold space and be vulnerable? Because we talked about that mask, how hard it is for people to be vulnerable and be
very.
a hot mess, right? Because it's seen as weakness or there's something wrong with me because I'm in this space. So
Yeah.
one, how do you begin to open the door and say, I can hold space for you? What does that sound like? And then how do you, if that person does come in the door and is willing to allow you to hold space, then what are some of the ways in which you lead them, or just so that they can do their own work instead of you fixing it? What does that look like for you?
I think it's dependent on each individual and each situation, but I think the bulk of it is because it's not even a word. It's not I'm going to hold space. Can I hold space for you? I mean, I may say, hey, if you want to talk about anything, I'm happy. I have time. I'm happy to listen. It's the energy behind it. Because I am as comfortable as anyone can be at this point, and I'm sure I'll get more and more comfortable over time. Because 10 years ago, I probably thought I was comfortable with pain, not realizing I wasn't. So it's perspective as of today, because I can sit with my own discomfort now and not have to fix it right away, that I can just be in that muck. Then they know they can be in the muck, because I'm mirroring back that you will be okay. You can go there. You can go to that dark place. You can share that thing that you've never told anyone else about before, because I can energetically hold it for you. And then as far as helping people do the work themselves, I mean, that's a huge part right there. If they can feel, because until you feel, you really can't move through it. Then I kind of just invite open-ended questions, and as people verbalize what's going on, they come to their own answer on their own. If we just shut up, it's just being quiet, honestly. The more quiet we are, the more that person's inner knowing and alignment happens. And then they can find that tapping in to what they know, because they already know. We all do.
Yeah. So is that what you use as a guiding principle with your clients when you're working with, as a parent coach, do you, with your clients, help them come to their own realizations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it depends on the person and where they're at. So some need a little more guidance. But ultimately, that is my intention, for
So
them to find the
what if you
answers.
have a person or a loved one that's having a particular problem or an issue, and you say to them, I'm here to support you, I'm here to listen. So
Mm-hmm.
they say okay, and they share with you, and then they're just saying, I'm in this pain and I don't know what to do. I just don't know how to make it go away. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to do. Then what do? Do you then
Sometimes
fix?
I do my best not to. I mean,
Mm,
I'm human. I still can fall into that trap, right?
yeah.
And I may give tools or ideas of practices that they can practice,
Mm,
journaling prompts, but a lot of it is that, what, it's okay to be here right now. If you need to
mm,
stay here and you don't fix it yourself, you can just stay there. I
mm.
don't want you to stay there forever, but, give yourself a couple hours to just feel crappy, because that's okay
Yeah.
too. I mean, sometimes I do that for myself. I'm like, I'm just in a funk and I just need to stay here. Warning, stay away. I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. So I'm just going to kind of hole up and, whether I decide to go for a walk or journal. So I'll give them some of those tools that may invite some of their inner knowing to come up, automatic writing prompts, whatever that may be for them. It's not a go-to for anybody, because different people need different things.
And whether or not they take those
Yep.
suggestions, you have no control over. And here's
Nope.
the other part about being rescuer and fixer, right? Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times in being the rescuer, you're the one who's giving the advice.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's solicited or unsolicited, you end
Exactly.
up giving advice. But here's the catch: you have to be careful if the person doesn't take your advice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can sometimes get frustrated and then become like annoyed or angry,
Yep.
or like, well, if you just did
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, and Z and listen to what I said.
Exactly. Your life would be wonderful.
Yes. Yes. If you just let me wave my wand over you. Like, forgetting that it's a process and each of us is at a different point. And even
Right.
for myself, looking back, when I've been in a space, if I was there for a while or someone told me to just do this and you'll feel better, or just feel better, I would not welcome that. I didn't want somebody
No.
to tell me how to feel. This is how I feel, and this is where I am
Exactly.
right now. And
Exactly.
I think one other big thing about the rescuing and the pain piece that you were talking about is that, again, going back to, no one is taught emotional intelligence. No one's taught how to deal with pain, emotional pain we're talking
Right.
about.
Right.
So when we're young and we're kids and the feeling comes up, at least I know this was true for me. There were times I felt like I was going to fall into a deep black hole. That's how big the pain felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was going to somehow swallow me up and I would never be okay. When in reality, pain, whether it's sadness or fear, it's energy. It's an
Right.
emotion
Right.
that does have a rise and it
Mm-hmm.
falls. And it comes and it goes like the wave on the ocean.
Yep.
And if only I was taught, or we would teach our children, that our feelings are just waves on the ocean. You
Mm-hmm.
are not your feelings. You are not your fear.
Right.
You're not your sadness. You're not your anger.
Right.
You are the ocean, and the feelings are just a wave. And sometimes sometimes the waves can be huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like huge storm-like waves.
Yep.
And then other times you can look at the ocean and there's barely a wave. It's very
Right.
calm. And it's the same with our emotions.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that you brought that up too, because if we just sit with a feeling, if we allow and teach people to literally, like, I want you to just sit with it, feel it,
Mhm.
feel it, and your thought can come in and, notice the thought. So it's kind of like a meditation type of thing. But if people can
Right.
actually dive into that feeling and just feel that sadness, that fear, that worry, whatever is showing up for them, it's, for most people, if you actually truly jump into that feeling, that hurtful feeling, and it's the same for quote positive feelings too, right? They don't stay around forever.
Nope.
If you sit with it in 90 seconds, that energy, that wave will move through your body and it won't stay stuck. Because what
That's
happens
all
is
it
it stays
takes.
stuck, so if we don't feel it, it's stuck. Where if we
Yep.
feel it, it dissipates like the wave. And that's why I really encourage people to feel it. Um, because that's a whole nother conversation, the whole chakras and where the energy gets stuck and
Yeah.
emotional piece of that. But then there's nothing to fix.
I know.
When you actually think about it, there's nothing to fix because it's just a feeling. As long as we don't attach the story and the thoughts to that feeling, it will physically, energetically leave our bodies. You look at a toddler, they have their big old temper tantrum. And if we just let them have that temper tantrum and we stay out of their way, they're fine.
They're a perfect example.
You look at animals, they have a stressful situation, they
Yep.
shake, they move it out of their body. And then they're like a horse, if they had a stressful moment, like a vet visit, you release them into the pasture, they often will run and buck, or they'll drop and they'll roll, and then they just go back and I'm going to go eat now with
Yeah.
mom. Everything's fine now. It's gone. I got it out. Humans are the same way. But
We attach the story is what you said. It's
yeah,
attaching the story to the
belief.
pain, to the belief.
Yeah.
That's what keeps things stuck. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
things stay stuck in our subconscious minds. And that's
Right.
the work that I
Yeah,
do,
exactly.
is to help people go into their subconscious minds and
Mm-hmm.
pull out those old belief systems that are stuck
Yep.
so that they can move forward
Yep. And release it.
and release it. Yeah.
So I
And
think
then once
that's
that
it.
happens, then the rescuer is out of
Right.
a job.
That's
You're
right.
fired.
That's right. That mask can go into the burn pile.
Yes, that is one mask you will not have to wear during coronavirus.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my fixing now is less emotional, like, because I'm pretty good with pain now. There's times it's still really difficult, but it's the wanting to be needed. So it's more
Mm,
like the physical stuff. Like, I'll help you with that. Let me help
mm.
you. I'll help you fold this or cook that. Let me help you. So I'm needed and I'm wanted. So that's where my fixer mask is showing up more now, I think.
Yeah, I've done that one too.
Yeah. So it's not just
especially
emotional fixing.
it's not just emotional, it's coming to the rescue. There's so many times when, more so my daughter when she was younger and at school, the whole like, oh, I forgot my lunch
Oh,
or I
yeah.
forgot my gym clothes. And,
Yes.
rather than allowing her to be hungry or
Mm-hmm.
allowing her to have to deal with the consequences from the, gym teacher for not
Yep.
having gym clothes,
Yep.
I would drop whatever I was doing, hop in the car and drive across town,
Guilty. Me
walk
too.
into the school. Here's Angela's lunch.
Right.
Here's her gym clothes. She forgot a paper. Here's her
Yep.
paper. Here's her homework.
Yep.
Oh my God. It's like, and I think a lot of us in our generation do that because that's
Mm-hmm.
where the whole term comes from,
Right.
helicopter mom,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
now there's even another term called the lawnmower
Yep.
mom. And I was
And the
probably
snowplow.
and the snowplow. I maybe have been on the verge of being a snowplow mom. Well, look what we're doing. Like you were saying before, we're taking away the opportunity and the gift of them struggling, as this
Mm-hmm.
says right here, like in the quote.
Yep.
Be frustrated. Be frustrated. Like let them be frustrated.
Right.
Let them struggle because that's how they learn.
Exactly.
That is how they learn and how they grow.
Mm-hmm. And
We
then
are literally crippling them when we don't.
right. Right. And that growth and that inner trusting themselves, that's huge. Like,
Yeah.
I will survive this. And then we can witness that they will survive it.
Yes. Yeah. And then feel more secure in that.
Yep.
Wow, this has been a huge conversation. This is
Big
this
one.
is big one. This is real, people. This is going real, going
Yeah.
underneath. I feel so much is coming up for me through this conversation. So hopefully it is also bringing up a lot for us, for the listeners, for you listeners and viewers.
Be
Yeah,
gentle with yourself as you start to notice
absolutely.
these masks showing up.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.